says record live.
In the middle.
It looks like we might be on YouTube. I think so. I don't know. All right.
Well,
Well,
well then,
either way, welcome to Booze and Ballin', Fantasy Football Shaken.
not stirred.
And before we get any further, let's all take a moment, give a little bit of silence for our man Pukanuka. Fucking knees.
Oh,
That
man.
sucks. Week one, that I think
Right.
was the biggest thing of
God.
anything that had happened
Brought back
all the
J.K.
entire
Dobbins
time.
memories for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but Puka's become like a co-host of this show. And to see him get a knee injury week one, man, that hurts.
Prayers out. Hopefully, he's a speedy recovery. He's week to week right now. But I don't think it's time to panic. That's for sure. But it
No.
does show that Cooper Cup becomes a top 10 option the rest of the
Oh,
way.
Cooper Cup. If you drafted Cooper Cup, you are
You are
sitting pretty.
loving life because you probably got him third, fourth round, and that is
Oh,
way too low now.
you might have even gotten later than that, depending on
Some
your
people
draft
did.
and how
Some
your
people
league
did.
drafts. Because a lot of people slept on him, thinking Puka's going to get it, and then with the addition of Blake Corum, but
Yeah.
he's a top 10, possibly top 5 wide receiver
I said
from
it
here on
before
out.
on this show. I say it again. I cannot believe Puka Nakua was being drafted over Cooper Cup. I mean,
I just think they went. I think it was a youth thing. But speaking of injuries, let's just touch on this. We, like you said earlier, we got out of this week relatively unscathed.
it was a very light week for injuries. It was
Got Puka,
probably got a storm coming, but who knows?
Jordan Love. He
Jordan
avoided a
Love,
major injury.
that one
He's
looked scary too.
yeah. So they're week to week. I mean, Puka might go on IR. I think they said he was gonna, but it hasn't showed up in a lot of your apps yet. Jordan Love probably gonna be on IR, but he's only about 4 weeks too. Um, Romo Dunze got hurt. He's MCL sprain. He's week to
Yeah,
week. He could
that's
be
a
out 4 weeks. Outside of that, I mean, your major injuries, I don't think we're anything other than we got to watch CMC.
yeah. Got to keep an eye on that. We'll see what's actually really going on there. I mean, are they going to actually come out and tell us now, or
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of miscommunication there, but you and I did kind of say like we were overall worried about him.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Like
the
if you
calf was a thing last year in the playoffs, and then he tweaked it again in camp. So
we said you have a soft tissue injury for a month.
and calves are nothing to mess with, dude. They're painful when they hurt. They hurt.
I knew yeah, he's going to be monitored. So if you didn't pick up Jordan Mason, it's on you.
Yeah, he only
So
just did the exact same thing that he would have 20. What did he have? 26 carries or something like that. This is insane.
he was basically a CMC 2.0 in that offense. That
Yeah,
shows you when you have an efficient offense like that and you have a guy who does have an injury history, who's a workhorse back, you need to take their handcuff in every situation.
yeah. I got to give a shout out to the offensive line of the San Francisco 49ers. They
They're beautiful.
absolutely manhandled that game, dude. It was a work of art all game long.
So that sucked for anybody who started in fantasy wise. I know I won a league because of that, but let's get to fantasy. Week one was weird. Like week one is always weird. It is amazing how many key guys didn't score, weird guys scored. But I'll tell you this, like, don't panic. Don't go dropping unless you have strategic plans and you have like, okay, I'm gonna now I know this guy went low. I want to move him. You have other
Right,
goals, but don't panic.
right.
I think for most of what you saw, we don't have to panic on like your key guys yet. Like
Yeah, and
CD.
don't overreach on some guys as well. Like, don't go overpaying for a guy who just blew up that might
That's
have
a
only
good
blown up
point.
because of
Like
a couple of touches. Like, don't go
uh
overpay for
in Indy.
Jaden Reed right now because he had 33 fantasy points, but he just lost his quarterback and he only had like 6 or 8 touches. So it's not going to go for that many
And the
points
Colts,
every
the
week.
guy for the Colts, you were texting me about
Alec
him.
Pierce.
Yeah. Like, wait. Because
Yeah. He only
AD
had 2 or 3
Mitchell
targets and had 2 bomb catches. And that's
AD
why he
Mitchell looked explosive and open. He just got missed.
missed twice on deep ones.
Oh, like that.
Deep
That could have been
ones.
a way different game.
Yeah, and then
So
Pierce doesn't even show up on the stat line
because
probably,
you
so
you look last year, Mixon week one 7.3 finished the top back. CD 11.7 finished the top back. CJ Stroud 9.7 fantasy points became CJ Stroud. Jalen Hurts 12.5 and Josh Allen 12 points. Week one last year, and then they all became relevant. It's
yeah.
week one, and this year even less playing in the preseason happened. So just don't panic.
Yeah,
Like they
I was talking about that at work with my brother, like, guys have got to start playing in the preseason again. I mean, you're basically throwing an entire week away, just thinking like, well, we'll figure it out as we go.
Just like
That's
sitting at the end of the season before the playoffs, you come out stale.
even
It's-
Brady would go out there and run a few series in the preseason on the last game to make sure
Mhm.
that he was game ready. Like, get these guys back in at least that last preseason game. I mean, you're trying to get them not hurt, right? But in
Right.
doing so, they're not game ready, and then they end up getting hurt because they're not up to speed and their body's not ready.
Agreed. It's one of those things. Just
Like, game speed
get
is
out
just
there,
a
play a little bit.
different. Everybody who's ever played the game will always tell you that game speed is just a different level.
And you can tell there was just a little bit of chemistry that was not there.
Yeah.
That in week 2, 3, 4 is gonna really develop. Week
Like
1, some of these
yeah.
guys are really playing game. First time they're throwing the ball to these guys.
Yeah, like
or
the
handing the
Bengals,
ball
you've
to
had
these guys.
injuries, you've had Holdens. I mean, they said Chase has been practicing behind the scenes, like with the guys outside of the field, but I don't know. It all
Every one
just
of those
didn't look-
guys, every one of those guys who was on a holdout did not look up to speed.
Yep, we called it. We said it. We said it here first. We basically said if you're gonna have one of those guys, I'd bench him. I mean,
Like Ayuk.
Ayuk
although
was terrible. He had.
I
coulda
do
had a
owe
better
Brian
game.
Robinson Jr. an apology.
Yes, you do.
I just didn't see that. And this is on the panic, don't panic. I'm still a little panicked with the offense in Washington. Jaden Daniels looked good. He's going to be a great fantasy quarterback, but he doesn't throw to receivers. Like, I started Terry McLaurin, and that was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
He throws to running backs. I didn't realize how much he was going to rely on the running backs in that game. So, like, Jaden Daniels is relevant, but man, does he not throw to receivers? And that does worry me a little bit, starting Terry McLaurin moving forward.
Right. I owe Tony Pollard an apology. He
That was weird,
somehow
too.
got 18 carries, but he's a good example of don't go out and overpay for a Tony Pollard right now from somebody, because the coach literally said after the game, he's like, no, it's still going to be more of a timeshare. We don't
It'll
know
be a
what
hot
happened
hand.
there. Yeah, and he
So
was
it's-
like, Tajay Wills touch the ball more next game, basically.
Those
So,
the numbers they scored could easily flip flop next week.
right. So like I'm a Tony Pollard owner in a dynasty league, and I'm still gonna be like, if it's a bad matchup, I'm still slamming the sit button on him. I can't trust it. I don't know.
Just
There's
some
something
dudes
about
that you
that.
just can't pull the trigger on.
He's one of those guys that I'm gonna have to leave on my bench just so that I can play him when I have to. But it is what it is. But you know what I mean?
So
Fantasy.
you know what else? Fantasy. Fantasy is not real football. So real football statistics don't correlate to fantasy all the time. Like Anthony Richardson, fantasy beast. Real
Yeah.
football,
And you gotta let that shit go. Let
Another-
it go.
oh, yeah, there you go, Elsa. Another like thing. I don't know. It's not quite panic meter, but a couple teams I'm worried about. Bengals just looked like complete dookie. Deshaun Watson
Doogie.
is just showing once and again he was way overpaid. Like that offense, like Jerry Jeudy got a touchdown, which made me happy. Like I called about starting him over that, but I don't know. And then they go and they sign creepy face Kadarius Tony. That dude looks he looks
Somehow he
like
still
the
ends up
Green
on
Goblin's
teams. Doesn't make
mask.
sense. I don't know how he keeps
in
ending up
Spider-Man.
on teams.
I don't know.
He does
then-
have some serious talent when the ball's in his hands, though. I mean, whatever.
And the Giants too. I worry about them. But I'll tell you this, like Wendell Robinson, I have a little bit of ownership in him in some of the leagues, but I don't have a lot of it. And I wouldn't run out to get him. He had 12 targets, but 12 targets on a bad offense is like 6 targets on a good offense.
Yeah, I was happy to see the 12 targets. I'm a 16-team dynasty owner of him.
Yeah, you have him in
and,
that. That was good for you.
Yeah, I was looking at that like, ooh, he might have to start starting. So
all of that. So week 1, don't panic. Fantasy was weird. Teams were weird.
that should
We
be
avoided
written.
major injuries.
Yeah, that should be written on every fantasy football team week 1 cheat sheet.
Marvin
Don't
Harrison
panic.
Jr.
Oh my God, I was going to talk about him too.
Don't panic on him either. Although this, like
I want to get into him a little bit more on our episode this Friday.
we definitely we're gonna go into him on Friday because I have a lot to talk about. All
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna say
need-
is like Kyler Murray. I think his size hurts him seeing him wide
my
open, like
God.
missing that.
McBride too. There was a bunch of times where McBride went right into the end zone, boxed this guy out, and was like, and he just didn't throw the ball. And like he looking right at him. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Throw the ball. And then he would roll out, throw the ball.
One more thing, top tight ends, don't panic on them. They'll get there.
Oh no, yeah. Do not go sell Mark Andrews.
Don't do it yet.
Pick up Isaiah Likely. Yes,
Pick up
but
Isaiah
do not
Likely if
get
you
rid
got
of
the room,
Andrews.
but don't sell Mark Andrews to do it.
No, I can't imagine. He's coming back. He's getting his feet under him. Another don't panic.
So one last thing before we do sign off till Friday.
Oh.
Biggest takeaway for the weekend. What do you think? Like, who'd you like? What did you like to see?
Biggest takeaway from the weekend is it's anybody's game. I didn't see a single team out there besides maybe the 49ers
They look
that
great.
is going to just absolutely run away with the league this year. I didn't see a
Agreed.
single one this year.
I don't think there was any team that I was just like, damn.
And I'm blaming it on no preseason because there wasn't a single team that looked polished. But again, the San Francisco 49ers surprised me a lot,
They looked the
blowing them
most
out like they
polished
did.
without Christian McCaffrey.
And an Ayuk that held out, so he was
Right.
on a snap count.
Yeah, mine is Josh Allen is still a quarterback one
Yeah, he's a
without knowing the
beast.
wide receiver one, but
It's crazy.
I'm really liking Keon Coleman.
He
after
looks
what
good.
I saw. He looked
looked
good.
snatching the ball at a high point. Yeah,
He's
he
just.
looked
I
good.
think Josh Allen's going to give that ball to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm interested to see that on Thursday night.
Dawson Knox came out of nowhere too.
Right.
Had a couple good catches.
So like Thursday night, Bills, Dolphins. I'm excited to see that.
That's
Should
a
be
good
fun.
game. Yeah, good division rival there.
Well, we'll talk about that on Friday.
Pocanuga.
It's a Tuesday night. Bocanuca. Don't panic.
Don't panic.